Welcome everyone to the Inland Sports Show. Before we start the show, make sure you like this video and you've subscribed to the Inland Sports Show YouTube channel. And if you're a local business or organization and you'd like to promote yourself on this show, just send us an email, inlandsportsshow@gmail.com. The show starts right now. Garcia's left footage. And what is up? Welcome to the Inland Sports Show, everybody. I'm your host, Pep Fernandez. We got Johnny Nunez behind the scenes here at Teen Vision TV 16. We've got a big show coming up for you. A little bit later, we'll talk some football with Roosevelt High School. The Mustangs wrapping up non-league play, getting ready for the Big West Conference. Of course, some big games coming up there. We'll talk some volleyball with Paloma Valley High School. The Wildcats trying to get that inside track for that Ivy League title on the volleyball court. We'll talk some high school baseball and, of course, our weekly high school football awards as well. But we're going to lead things off right now as we head out to #Yucktown. Yucaipa High School football. The T-Birds off to a 5-0 start this season. We got head coach Justin Price, and we got a bunch of T-Birds. We got 7 captains in all. Coach Price, before we get to your guys, man, 5-0 to start the season. What have you liked about your team through the first 5 games of the year?
Well, I think, with no surprise, we had a lot of guys recruiting on defense this year. I think that's really been a strong suit for us. We played pretty well on defense. I think we're still kind of finding ourselves offensively. We know we got a younger quarterback, but things are definitely moving in the right direction. But I would say right now, defense is by far our strength of the team.
You know, Coach, we talked during the summer before the season began, and you were saying you've got a lot of guys returning from last year. How much has that experience, that these guys have, especially these seniors, how much of that experience has played a role in this 5-0 start this year?
Well, when you return, 35 seniors, it's huge. I really feel like the difference between last year and this year is just that. It's the experience. We've handled ourselves really well when we face some adversity this year. We know how to stay poised under pressure. We really are rallying around each other as a team. I would say this being that COVID group, they were freshmen that year of COVID when we had all those crazy things happen. I think that just made us stronger as a group, and we've really stuck together. And that's one thing that's special about Yucktown is, we're playing with 99% guys from our own community. We've been together, we've stayed together, and it is really, truly one town, one team.
That's awesome, Coach. Okay, we got your 7 captains, the seniors in the front, the juniors in the back row. And speaking of defense, let me go to the guy right next to you, Devin Atchley, a linebacker for the Thunderbirds. And Devin, this defense has been playing great this year. As you get ready for Citrus Belt League play, do you feel like this defense, as good as it's been, do you feel like you guys could maybe even be better when you get to league play?
Yeah. I mean, it would be great to just roll into the season games and start off with Beaumont. I mean, it's a big opponent, but if we keep going the way that we're going, getting low scores on all the games, then I think we're going to be great.
Devin, when I think, Yucaipa football, I mean, Coach Price has had some great running backs. You guys have scored a lot of points, but do you feel like, not that the identity is different at Yucaipa High School this year, but the defense, like Coach mentioned, is kind of leading the way? Do you guys feel like defensively, if you keep a team to 1 or 2 touchdowns, the offense will do enough? You guys will win a lot of football games.
Yeah, I mean, defense and special teams have been picked up. I mean, our offense is no joke either, but yeah, we're starting to become more of a passing team, not as heavy on the run, but no, our defense is legit. Yeah, we're getting tackles, we're getting them down.
Speaking of offense, again, the offense is no joke. And we got Marvin Hungerford right there to Devin's side right there. And Marvin, I know you can play both ways, but I've seen you make some big-time catches. What do you think is special about this year's Yucaipa team with all these seniors, Marvin?
I think what's special mainly is that we just got a bunch of guys that can play. Like me and Tyler Noah on the outside, we got a bunch of rotators going in at the slot receiver. And our quarterback too. Our quarterback's been doing really good, even though it's his second year playing quarterback. His first year playing varsity. He's been doing exceptional, and I can't wait to see what he can do going into league.
Yeah, Deese's looked good, man, through the first 5 games of non-league play. Marvin, as we get ready for Citrus Belt League play, offensively, what do you feel like offensively you guys can do to maybe get better? Because when you play some of these other CBL teams, they can score points. There's some really great players out there in the CBL. What do you think offensively you guys need to do to take that next step and maybe put some more points on the board?
I mean, passing the football is what we can do to improve the most. I mean, we have great running backs too, so our run game is very solid, but I think we need to respond with the other teams' passing game because Citrus Belt League is no joke in the passing game with teams like Beaumont, Cajon, CD. So I think if we just match that going into league, I think we'll do great.
All right next to Marvin is Tyler Price. You might recognize the last name. Tyler, you're finally a senior now. Playing for your dad, do you want to go out with a bang? Do you want to make this a special season, not just for yourself and the Price family, but obviously for the whole football program? How special would it be to, maybe be in the hunt for a league championship and get to the playoffs as a senior?
Oh, it'd be awesome. I mean, our team this year is definitely the best we've seen in a while. I mean, our team chemistry is an all-time high, obviously with the 35 seniors. And all 7 of these guys right here, we're all pretty close. And all the seniors are pretty close as a whole, to be honest. Our defense, obviously, is our main point. As a defense, we play like a team more than ever. Our offense is bonding better than ever. I mean, I think our best guys are up front. I mean, they lead the defense. We have great D-line, a great linebacker core this year. Stopping the run should be good for us.
All right, Tyler, obviously playing for your dad. Is it fun? Is it nerve-wracking? He's smiling right now. Yeah, he's probably within arm's reach, so be careful how you answer this. But what's it like playing for your dad?
Oh, it's pretty tough. I mean, everything's in a spotlight of you. You're the coach's son. I mean, everything you do is magnified. So if you do something wrong, it seems like everyone else thinks it's okay to do something wrong, or if you screw up. I mean, you're in the spotlight for sure. It's pretty tough.
Well, your dad or your coach is a good dude, so I'm sure he treats you like the rest of the T-Birds, right? Just one of the guys.
It's a little bit.
A little bit. Let me go to Nathaniel Clark on the end, the 4th senior captain on this team. He plays on the defensive line, and Nathaniel, like I was asking Devin earlier, this defense has been so great this year. Through the first 5 games, defensively, what do you think the entire defensive unit has done well?
I think just doing what we're taught in practice, it's really helped us out, just preparing for these games, and for sure everyone just running to the ball and just giving effort on every play and just rallying to the ball is a big thing for us this year, and we're really emphasizing that. It's really helping us this year. So yeah.
Nathaniel, give me a pleasant surprise through non-league play. What has maybe kind of surprised you that you're like, hey, this Yucaipa team is, doing this better or better in this area than I thought we were going to be, which is, keeps you guys optimistic going into CBL. What's been a pleasant surprise maybe for you or something you've seen from your team this year?
Definitely a pleasant surprise is how everyone just comes out with an attitude every game, just wanting to win. Before probably the season, we were kind of just still finding our way and seeing what works for us. But once we got into that first game, after that, it's kind of everyone just knows what we need to do, and just our attitudes to the game, just constantly having this desire to win and just keep it going has been pretty surprising.
Awesome. Coach, let me go back to you real quick, just so you can introduce your junior captains on the back row, Will, Josiah, and Dean. I guess it's a nice blend, and maybe you do this on purpose, that you have some seniors leading the way, but also some juniors that are captaining the team. So that way next year, they'll be the big time senior leaders that kind of get that experience.
Yeah, and this is the largest group of juniors we've ever had. Last year we had Marvin and Tyler. We got some really strong junior captains this year. You got Will McCarg back there, returning inside linebacker, but also even as a freshman got some reps at linebacker on varsity, which is exceptional. You got Josiah Allen in the middle right there. It was pretty crazy as a freshman. He had to step up and start at offensive guard in a playoff game his freshman year when we played Dominguez Compton. And then Dean's been playing exceptional this year. He played a lot last year also as a sophomore. So their experience and, in my opinion, the work ethic that they showed in the offseason really earned them the opportunity to be a captain. So we're really excited about the group. We have a solid group of offense and defensive players, and alignment are represented. This captain's group's been great. But I will tell you, a lot of it's earned in the offseason. These guys were great. Their work ethic in the weight room's outstanding. But the big thing for us is they have to be in the Champions Club. And our Champions Club, they have to have over a 3.0. They have to serve 20 hours of community service. They have to, have 95% attendance or better, and not just in practices and meetings, but also in the classroom. And they have to be great, leaders in general. So we're trying to build up that program. We've had it now since I've been here. And to be a captain in our program, you have to meet all those other standards. It's not just about being a great football player. We want to be great community members and people also.
That's awesome. That's great to hear, Coach. I've got one question. I'd like to have all three juniors answer this. Being named a captain as a junior, how do you guys set the tone for the rest of the team? Being a captain, obviously people are looking to you to lead the way, maybe vocally or by your actions. So for Will and Josiah and Dean, being a captain, what does that mean to you, and how do you reflect that to the rest of your Yucaipa team?
Well, it's pretty special, being a junior, being selected captain, it's an honor. And I think, people just look up to us and see that, hey, maybe I can do that one day. So they just keep working and try to follow what we do.
I would say it's definitely a big deal as a junior being a captain, because there is seniors above you, right? And so you need to be exceptionally well for them to respect you, sort of a way.
Yeah, I think being personable goes a really long way. Having upperclassmen above you, but then also the underclassmen below you. It's an interesting dynamic, but I think we've made it work, and part of that chemistry between us has translated to the entire team and then onto the field.
Well, guys, I'm sure it's not by accident you guys are captains on this football team, handpicked by Coach Price. Coach, let me wrap it up with you, and we'll wrap it up like this. You're in your bye week. You will open up Citrus Belt League play against Beaumont, which seems, geographically like a rivalry game for you guys. Beaumont scores a lot of points. You guys are playing lights out defense without giving away all your secrets. How do you kind of see your first CBL matchup shaking out with the Cougars?
Well, first of all, I have a ton of respect for Coach Steinberg. He runs an exceptional program at Beaumont. I will tell you this, seeing them on film throughout the year, they're led by a senior quarterback who was all-state as a sophomore. He's a great football player. They got a great group of skill players. Offensive line's outstanding. Defensively, they don't get a lot of people talk about a lot, but if you look at their statistics and what their points per game they've given up, they've done a great job. I feel like CBL in general is probably one of the toughest years that we've had in a long time as far as the depth of good football teams. If you look at the records this year, it's going to be top to bottom really tough. And I think playing, like you said, geographically, Beaumont has become kind of a natural rivalry for us. And like I said, we have a lot of respect for them. They play the game the right way. Coach does an exceptional job, and we're looking forward to the challenge and in the CBL in general. But, first week, that's a really tough game to draw right away. We're just looking forward to, having our opportunities. That's all we talk about. Each week's a new opportunity. We want to go out and play our best football game in 2 weeks.
Well, Coach, guys, I really appreciate the time. I got to run here, but it's great catching up with you. Congrats on the 5-0 start, and that's a huge game right out of the gate in league play coming up against Beaumont. Coach Price, you're the best. Always appreciate the time and love catching up with you.
Yeah, Pep, it's been 15 years. It's hard to believe we've been doing this for 15 years, and I appreciate every opportunity you allow us to come on here and talk about Yucaipa football, and you've always been a great supporter of inland sports. It's awesome always watching your show and being a part of as much as I possibly can. So thank you.
I appreciate it, Coach. I'm starting to get the gray hairs to show for it. I know I've been around for a while now, so I got the gray hairs to show for it.
Well, I had a dark beard at some point, but it's now, after, like Tyler says, having to coach your own kids and, having his grandfather's on the coaching staff. So it's been an exciting year for us, but it's always fun to be on the show. Thanks again.
I've got kids of my own. I've got a couple gray hairs from them as well. I get it, Coach. Thank you guys for the time. I really appreciate it. Best of luck the following week against Beaumont, guys. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
All right, that's the Yucaipa football team here on the Inland Sports Show. That'll lead us into our first commercial break of the night. When we come back, we'll talk some Paloma Valley volleyball with the Wildcats. We'll be right back on your favorite show, the Inland Sports Show.
And this segment of the Inland Sports Show is brought to you by Kin Sporting Goods in Norco, #1 in the Inland Empire for team uniforms, sports equipment, and Letterman's jackets. Boost Performance Training in Corona. Athletes of all levels and all sports train at Boost. And also ask about the Bass Private School. Paulson Orthodontics in Redlands. Personalized treatment you deserve from an orthodontist you can trust. Chick-fil-A in Rialto, right off the 210 freeway at Ayala Drive. Eat more chicken.
What up, y'all? Boostman here, gonna break you off with a quick 2 cents on being a more mindful athlete. There is power in presence. Being present as an athlete requires giving 100% attention in all that you do. Doing this, we allow all of our preparation to flow through us in order to experience that elevated state called the zone and experience maximum levels of performance. Boostman.
Sports Show is proud to partner with Dr. Marcus Paulson and Paulson Orthodontics in Redlands. Dr. Paulson and his team work with children, teens, and adults using orthodontic products like traditional braces and Invisalign to make a difference in the appearance, comfort, and function of each patient's teeth. Paulson Orthodontics welcomes new patients, so schedule a visit today. Paulson Orthodontics. We make braces fun.
And welcome back to the Inland Sports Show, everybody. A big thanks to the Yucaipa High School football team, 5-0 to start non-league play in that huge game against Beaumont. Not this week, but when league play opens up in week number 6 the following week. Right now, we're going to talk some high school volleyball. The Paloma Valley Wildcats taking aim on an Ivy League championship. Picked up a big win this past week against Riverside Poly. Another big match coming up this week. Join us here on the show, Stephen Kaas, the head coach of the Wildcats, 2 of his star players as well, Grace Leesmeyer and Elle Scott. And Coach, things are going well for the team this year. Do you try to use that as fuel to kind of build confidence, or do you try to keep the team, like, hey, don't get a big head yet? I know we've won some big matches, but we still got some big matches in front of us. How do you kind of balance that going forward through Ivy League play?
Well, I think you hit it on the nail right there. It's all about confidence for us. I think they've been gaining it every match. I'm not too worried about a big head right now for anybody on our team. Our league schedule is pretty tough. Anybody can win any night, and we know that. So we just know we have to come out and be our best every night. That's kind of the motto we have, every ball.
Yep.
Every ball.
So. Well, Coach, I'm looking at your schedule right now. I know you've, you swept Hemet. You beat Riverside Poly this past Friday night in 4 games, 4 sets. And then you got Rancho Christian coming up on Wednesday. Full disclosure, we're recording this show and this interview a little bit early, but as you go into match against Rancho Christian. That's another big one in Ivy League play. Is it safe to say that, I think you just touched on it, but every single match is going to count? It's going to matter in that Ivy League title race.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you saw our scores, but 2 or 3 of the games with Poly were just won and lost by 2 points. They had the same sort of match with Elsinore. I think we had a really good run and came out hot against Hemet, but I expect them to bounce back and play well throughout the rest of the year. We saw a little bit of Rancho. We played them in Summer League, so I think neither one of us kind of showed our cards in those Summer League matches. So it'll be fun to get out there and play them for real this week.
Well, Coach, joining you on this interview, Grace Leesmeyer and Elle Scott. And Grace, I'll start with you. Grace is there in the middle on your screen. Grace, what has really impressed you about this Paloma Valley squad so far this year? I think your overall record is 9-2. I just had it in front of me. But, you know, what has stood out to you about this team this year?
I think really like how well we're all working together. A lot of girls moved up from JV this year, and I think we all already have a really good connection, and our setters with our hitters and our passers with our setters, we're all really connected already.
And how about you, Elle? I mean, what do you think makes this team special or unique? What is the Wildcats, where they really stood out this year?
I don't know. I think we were all nervous coming into this season because we've lost some players in the past who were like really big players. And so I think we're a team of underdogs. And so like us coming together and having all of these wins has been really impressive for us. Like even to ourselves, it's not something that we thought we had in the bag. It's been crazy.
Yeah, you know, I'm looking at your schedule, and there's, you know, some, you know, traditional volleyball powers that you've beaten already. Santiago, of course. I see Valley View down there. I see King. You know, of course, you already beat Hemet and Poly in league play as well. So, you know, I'll go back to Elle, and Grace, you can answer this the same way. But, you know, for this team, you know, like you guys mentioned, there was a lot of turnover, you know, with new players stepping in and stepping up. How important is it that you guys did get some early season victories against some really good teams? Did that kind of, you know, build some momentum and confidence in this team going forward?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Winning Santiago, we were like, oh my gosh, like the whole team was going crazy about it. We thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
So big confidence boost. It was a great way to start the season.
Yeah, it made us look and feel really good about the upcoming season, definitely.
And Coach,
well, I think
yeah, for you as
this
well,
team
Coach.
also showed quite a bit of resiliency. Like we've dropped the first set a few times only to come back and play better and better and better each set. I think we've shown that in each match, just getting a little bit better with each set. And that's been something great to see. I mean, it's been a really fun season thus far. I was nervous. We were supposed to play a tournament the first week of the season, but that got canceled. So we're short, you know, 5 or 6 matches that would have given us a little bit more experience. But I think we're getting caught up. We're playing in that freeway tournament this weekend. I think that will give us even a little bit more experience against some better teams, and hopefully we can take that over for the rest of the year in league. So.
You know, Coach, is there something to be said for playing close matches, like maybe a 27-25 or, you know, some sort of a close set? Is there something to be said just about how valuable that might be by, you know, late in league play if you're competing for a league championship or even in the playoffs to have been in that situation before?
You guys want to answer that?
So, you know, he asked you.
Yeah. Well, no, I think it is. It's very valuable, and it shows that, you know, they know how to finish. We went, I think, 30-32 or 30-28 against Poly last Friday. And we had one of our players had to leave to get back to homecoming. So there was just a lot going on that night, but they just kept fighting and getting it done. And I think that confidence will take us a long ways, hopefully. So.
Yeah, and, you know, and Elle and Grace, the same thing. Like, you guys play close matches. It's not like you're just rolling, you know, a bunch of easy opponents. You're playing good teams. You're playing close matches. You feel like this team is kind of, you know, growing up quickly, you know, playing these, you know, these close matches?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I feel like the more and more we play together, and especially against one team in particular, we really start like narrowing down what we can do and what'll score. And I think it almost helps us continuing to play those couple extra points.
Yeah, I think it's vital for like team bonding in a way too, because it's something that we have to fight through together. It's not just one person who's like winning the show. It's everyone that has to put in the effort, whether you're on the bench or whether you're on the court. You have to have that support with your teammates. I think it's super important to have those matches.
All right, so with that said, this is a question for Elle and Grace. You know, volleyball is such a vocal sport, and you guys like to pump each other up even when a point does not go your way. Who would you say is like the vocal leader, the player on the floor, maybe the player on the bench who's always like encouraging, supportive, always louder than everybody else? Do you have that player on your team, or maybe there's more than one?
I feel like that's me.
It's both of us.
I feel like, yeah, we have a lot of people. Like, there are so many girls that talk
Like,
so
we have
frequently.
this girl on our team who, like, when she screams, it sounds like a whistle, and like you know who it is. Sometimes she goes crazy.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I feel like when we're both on the court, it's definitely both of us. Or even as a middle, when Elle's off, I'm definitely there, like, talking. But our setter, Sarah, she's very loud, very
She gets excited,
communicative. Yeah.
And why do you think that's important, just to keep morale up on the floor? Like I said, maybe a point or a set doesn't go your way. You know, why do you think it's important just to keep the morale up of the team?
Volleyball, I don't know. I feel like it's a very emotional sport. Like it's all the difference if you're having a good or a bad day, and that can change in a second. If you have a bad play, your next few plays could be bad because you feel terrible about that one. So it's good to like
Encourage
each other. Yeah, keep it mellow. Don't have the spikes and valleys. Have the plateau.
Oh, that's a good one.
Grace is like, I'm writing that down for the next interview.
I know.
That's a good one. And Coach, let me go back to you and finish up with this. I mean, obviously, I try not to look too far ahead, but if this team can get the experience, get the momentum, continue to build on that confidence, and you know, win an Ivy League championship, you know, playoff time. You've had some great teams at Paloma Valley. Do you feel like this is a team that can, you know, string together a couple wins in the playoffs and maybe have a really long season, hopefully?
Yeah, you know what? I hadn't really worried about it much this year. I was just focused on getting a 5th league title here. But I went onto the CIF website and found out I think we're seated or ranked number 8 right now in our division. I think if we can roll into CIF, winning a league title, that would be great. And I think we'd be in a really good position to do well there. And I think that's something these girls would love, and it'd be a great experience for them. I know those few years we did go deep in the playoffs, it was a good program changing experience. These kids would know they're, you know, leaving a legacy behind for the younger kids to come and see too. So.
All right, and finally, Coach, pulling the curtain back as we do this interview. Today is your birthday. I don't know if this is your biggest birthday wish is to come on the Inland Sports Show, but I appreciate you taking the time. And I have to ask, what did you ask for your birthday, or do you have any big birthday plans?
Let's win on Wednesday. That's what I'm asking for. So.
That's the right answer. Coach, I appreciate the time. Elle, Grace, thank you guys so much. Congrats on the great start. I know there's a lot of volleyball still to be played, but congrats on the season so far, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that's the Paloma Valley Wildcats here on the Inland Sports Show. Thanks so much, guys. All right, that'll take us into another commercial break here on the show. When we come back, it's back to high school football. We got the Roosevelt Mustangs joining us live on the Inland Sports Show.
Hey guys, this is Jason at Ken Sporting Goods. We're almost to 1,000 Instagram followers. Tell your friends, like us, come down and see us. Thank you so much for your loyalty.
Well, we are back. We're here at the Boost Performance Center with the one and only, you know this guy, it's the Boost Man, Coach Ray Bass, with another gridiron question. And Coach Bass, this week, we want to know, is there a game plan? Is there a blueprint out there for parents so they can have guaranteed success for their kids? Does that exist?
Unfortunately, no. And I think I've mentioned that before. There is no game plan. There is no blueprint that guarantees success. But my two pieces of advice for parents who are looking to get the most out of their kids' athletic development is let your kids be kids. The last thing you want to do is to burn your kid out by the constant pressure of performance. B, I'd say and this is hard, you want to put your kids in positions where they have to face failure or adversity. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but the amount of growth that happens when your back is against the wall is immeasurable. And that growth is going to happen no matter the outcome. So my two keys here for parents looking to get the most out of their kids' athletic development is let the kids be kids, obviously, and then B, put them in positions to face adversity and face failure.
Well, parents, I hope you're listening out there. There's some good stuff right here from the Boost Man, Coach Ray Bass. If you've got a question for a future Gridiron segment, make sure you hit us up in our DMs all over Boost Training on social media. For the Boost Man, Ray Bass, I'm Pep Fernandez. We'll see you next time. And this segment of the Inland Sports Show is brought to you by Kin Sporting Goods in Norco, #1 in the Inland Empire for team uniforms, sports equipment, and Letterman's jackets. Boost Performance Training in Corona. Athletes of all levels and all sports train at Boost. And also ask about the Bass Private School. Paulson Orthodontics in Redlands. Personalized treatment you deserve from an orthodontist you can trust. Chick-fil-A in Rialto, right off the 210 freeway at Ayala Drive. Eat more chicken.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Inland Sports Show, live and amplified at Teen Vision TV 16. I'm your host, Pep Fernandez. Big thanks to the Paloma Valley volleyball team for checking in, trying to chase down that Ivy League title. Volleyball's in league play, but football right around the corner for league play. Final week of non-league action, week number 5. One of the big games this week, Roosevelt taking on Colony. And joining us here on the show, we've got the Mustangs. I feel like Mustangs. We definitely have head coach Chuck Chastain, a bunch of his top players as well, and we'll introduce them in just a moment. And Coach, you guys come in 3-1 on the season. I know this is year number 1 at Roosevelt for you. This is just kind of my standard question for a lot of coaches, regardless of the sport. But what has stuck out about this Mustangs team through the first 4 games of the season? I don't know if it's a pleasant surprise, areas that you guys have excelled in, but what has really jumped out at you about Roosevelt this season?
Our kids have just been resilient and really buying into the culture we're trying to sell and how we practice and what our mindset needs to be. And every week we're getting better at that and getting more physical and more determined. And so we're proud of their efforts so far. We feel we're on the right path, and we feel we're not playing our best football yet, but we're on the path to get there, and hopefully we'll be peaking at the right time going into the league.
Yeah, speaking of peaking at the right time, do you feel like maybe where you started at in week 0, I think it was King you played in that first game, to where you at right now, going into Colony in week number 5, you feel like at least you guys are trending in the right direction? Maybe not where you want to be exactly, but at least you're going in that right direction.
Yeah, we're absolutely going in the right direction. We put a lot on these players since we met them in the spring, as far as learning our schemes on both sides of the ball, making adjustments in game and different fronts, coverages, et cetera. So they're making strides every week, and we don't want to be our best round. We want to continue to grow and be our best. We get in the league and then hopefully get the CIF. So we're on the right path for sure.
Yeah, and I want to talk to you about league in just a moment because, man, the Big West, the upper division is just brutal. So many good teams, you know that. But I want to introduce some of your guys as well. I'm just going to go right down my list. I'm going to start with Ty Beadle, who's kind of tucked in the bottom corner down here. Ty, you're tight end, defensive end here for the Mustangs, and you know, you've won 3 of your first 4 games under Coach Chastain. What have you liked about the Mustangs so far this season? What are you guys doing well as a team?
As of right now, I'm just liking how we're flying around to the ball, really pushing each other to be the best. And yeah, we're, like you said, we're 3-1, so just keep pushing in the right direction. Hopefully that one loss is our only loss, so just keep pushing that way.
All right, Ty, you must have been reading my mind because what I was going to ask you was, you know, outside of Oaks Christian, you guys have really dominated your other opponents. But when you look at that Oaks Christian game, can you use that as a learning experience? Can you look back at that game and be like, okay, we got to be better here. We got to improve in this area. Can you use that as an instrument to get better now?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we came out a little flat that game, and we could have played a lot better. And I think if we do play better, it's a lot different outcome, and we have a shot at winning that game, actually.
Mm-hmm. I think so, too. Let me go to Zach Torres now. I think Zach, yeah, right behind Ty on the back row. And Zach, the guys up front, man, coach knows this. Every coach knows this, that, you know, the battles are won on the offensive and defensive line. I know your quarterback is down there, Brian Wilson, but specifically talking about defensive line guys, getting to the other team's quarterback. Is that mission number one? If you feel like you can disrupt the other team's quarterback, that you've got linebackers in secondary that are going to make some plays behind you, maybe, you know, pick off a pass or, you know, tackle for a loss or something like that. Do you feel like getting to the other team's QB is a like, you know, mission number one?
I mean, yeah, for sure. We for sure been working towards the quarterback. You know, we all, you know, put in the work, and I have full trust in our secondary to make plays too on the back end. But I mean, we're for sure number one goal to get the quarterback.
You know, Zach, listen, you only gave up 1 touchdown to King. You only gave up 1 to North. Santiago only scored 10 on you guys. Defensively, the entire defensive unit, what have you guys done well this season?
Rally to the ball, gain tackles. I feel like each play, you know, all 11 hats are there. And I feel like we work well as a unit.
All right, let's talk some offense. Nate Enriquez, he's on the other side on the back row. Yep. And Coach Chastain, man, he's had some big-time receivers in the past. And Nate, you feel like I feel like you're another big-time receiver. He's got your QB's right in front of you. But what do you think is making this offense click right now?
The connection we have with Brian, honestly. Like, since he's transferred in, man, all of us just been connecting with Brian. Practice on the side, practice during, before practice, after practice. Our connection with Brian is just the main key that we have right now.
Nate, would you say this is a pretty balanced offense? Do you think it's pass first, run first, 50-50? I haven't looked at the stats, but do you feel like it's pretty balanced, like almost like right down the middle?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. We're for sure a 50-50 team. We like getting the ball in the air, and we like doing it on the ground, too. It works both ways, so I feel that's what we are.
All right, now I know quarterbacks usually get all the love, so Brian, I'm going to make you wait till last. I'm going to go to the defensive guys right behind Coach right now. I'll start with Sheldon Williams, a DB, and Sheldon, when you guys are flying around that secondary, we just talked to Zach about that, the defensive unit doing such good things, getting to the football, disrupting other teams' quarterbacks. What have you liked about the Roosevelt defense so far this year?
One thing I love is our how we communicate on the field. You know what I mean? Past time we've been on the field and our communication was a little poor, but, with this new coach and this, all of us coming together as a team, we're able to communicate and make plays.
And Nate Harden right next to you. Nate, obviously when you guys get to league play, you're going to play some really good teams with some great offensive players. I know you have one more non-league game coming up against Colony. Are there some areas that you feel like defensively you guys can still get better? Maybe some things you'd like to see from your team against Colony so that way you guys feel more confident, you're better prepared to go into Big West Conference play? Are there some areas that you guys feel like you can still improve upon?
I feel like we can improve on turnovers and defense plays. And I feel like the faster we get the ball on offense, the faster we'll win a game.
I think you're right, man. I think you're on to something. All right, let's go to the quarterback down on the front, Brian Wilson. Brian, man, you've got some great offensive weapons. There's Nate. I know Rodenbaugh's another one. But what do you think makes the offense work this season? Is it just because you have a lot of guys that all you have to do is get the ball in their hands and they'll make plays? Like, what do you think is making the offense work and click this year?
Yeah, 100%. We have a lot of great talent on the offensive side, but I think the most important thing about them is they're really an unselfish group. All of our receivers and running backs, everyone, we spread the ball around. Everyone feels the love. And then obviously our offensive line couldn't do anything without them, those big dogs. So.
Do you feel like when you get on a roll, it's almost like contagious? You score that first touchdown, it's like, oh man, here we go. It's like a snowball. We're just going to get this offense going now. Once you kind of get in that groove, do you feel like the offense is better? Maybe even after that first touchdown, you just kind of guys get all locked in as an offensive unit and just kind of off and running, I guess, offensively.
Definitely, yeah. We try to establish a rhythm every single week, and I think that once we get that first touchdown in, it's easier for us. But we have to continue to work on finishing drives.
And one more question for you, Brian, is that a mindset where you're, even though you might be up big on a team or by a couple touchdowns, to not take your foot off the gas? Like you've got a big lead. How do you play with a lead? How do you not let a team creep back into a game? Do you guys talk about that or think about that as well?
100%. Yeah, that's the goal, is just to bury every team that we play. So. We have to keep going no matter what, anything's possible. So we keep going, we keep getting better every time.
All right, Coach, let me go back to you in the middle. I don't want to look past Colony, but it's hard not to look ahead to the Big West Conference because there's just so many good teams. What are you hoping to see from your team this week on Friday night against Colony? What are you hoping that you guys do well so that way when you go into that first Big West Conference game, you feel like, okay, I think we're ready. I think we're trying to peak at the right time. I think we're going to put our best foot forward. What are you hoping to see from your team on Friday against Colony?
I'd like to see us just put a complete football game together. We've had a couple games that we made some mistakes on offense, and then defensively we need to improve on some tackling in one game. And then we've had a few penalties that are just kind of nonchalant and aren't aggressive penalties that you want to see out of your players. So I just want to see us play a clean football game. Look like we're taking the next step. We know what's ahead of us in the Big West. I mean, I know what's ahead of us. Nothing's changed. We're going to play great competition, but we're not looking past Colony. It's another great step for us. They're well coached. They believe in themselves, and they got to come here, and we'll be waiting for them. We'll be ready to go. And just a clean football game. Just kind of minimize some of those mental errors and take the next step.
So, Coach, I'm looking at your schedule right here. So. You had a bye. What week was that? That was
week 2 or week 1.
Week 1 was the schedule already in place? I assume it was already in place before you got there, right?
Yeah, the schedule was already in place. I would have changed that if I could, but it is what it is. Passed it, and did that hurt us in the Oaks game? Maybe not having a bunch of practice before, but that's something we can't control. It was done. All we can do is control what's ahead of us, and that's Colony.
All right, and finally, Coach, you guys have done a lot of things well, and we've talked about some of the areas that you feel like you can get better before you get to before Big West Conference play, but certainly before you see Colony on Friday. Year number 1 at Roosevelt. We've asked about pleasant surprises or what this team has done well. What is maybe really just jumped out at you like, okay, I didn't know what I was getting myself into, but now that I'm here, things are going well. The team is playing well. We got some great players. What have you liked just about the program and just we've talked about where it's at on the football field, but maybe off the football field. What has really stood out to you about what you guys are doing at Roosevelt right now?
Just the response of our players. They've been resilient young men. We've asked them to make some corrections here or there in the classroom or on campus. They've done it. No grief about it. They work hard at practice, and they're becoming young men. That's what they're most proud of at this point. Is they haven't backed away from any challenges we've thrown at them, and we're still getting them to try to believe that there's going to be a point to all this pushing them so hard. But they've been outstanding men on campus, outstanding in the community. And, hopefully that translates to wins on the football field. So we're proud of where we're at. Long way to go. The goal is to try to win a championship, start with the Big West. That's a lofty goal with what's ahead of us. But we're going to keep taking every step up the mountain and keep fighting all the way.
Yeah, I just look at that Big West Conference schedule. It's like, man, every single game. I've already looked ahead and started building our schedule for week number 6, which is the following week. And I'm like, every single game in league play, like from that first one, you guys have Marietta Valley, but I think Chaparral's playing Centennial. Like every single game is just like huge in league play. Coach, listen, I always appreciate the time. I think the Big West Conference is going to be a lot of fun, just like it was last year. And nothing but the best to you guys. Good luck against Colony, and good luck in Big West Conference play coming up.
Appreciate it, Pep. Thanks for having us. You do a great job for high school football, and we're proud to be part of the Big West. It's a hell of a conference, and we're going to go out there and play football.
Coach, I should have asked you this in the very beginning, but the mustache, is that a new look? I can't remember seeing you with a mustache before.
It is a new look. I just, I got bored. Some people hate it. Some people like it. Rocking it now. What do you think?
I like it.
I'm going to challenge. Wait up. I'm going to challenge Coach Batdorf. He said he was the best-looking head coach in the IE. I'm going to challenge him on that.
He did. I asked him because Norda Vista is supposed to be pretty good this year, and I asked him, what's the key to Norda Vista this year? Why are you guys going to be so good? And he's like, well, it's because of their funny, good-looking head coach. And I was like, well, all right, done. I'm done. That's the end of the interview. That was the right answer. So
give him grief about that one.
Coach Chastain, you are the best. I really appreciate it. Guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule. I know it's a game week, Colony coming up, so thank you guys. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you, Pep. Thanks for having us.
You got it, Coach. You don't have to stay on Zoom. You guys can bounce. The show's going to roll on. Thank you so much, guys. All right, that's the Roosevelt football team here on the Inland Sports Show. And again, I told you guys we're going to talk a lot of high school football on this show. Coming up in our final segment, we'll pass out some of our weekly awards as we always do. But right now, let's take a look at our Boost Top 25 poll in this segment. And it's got a lot of Big West Conference flavor right there, right? Centennial on top. We still got Cajon at number 2 despite losing to Lincoln from San Diego the previous week. Lincoln is a state champion from a year ago and regarded as the number 1 team in the San Diego section. So that was a tough loss for Cajon, but against a very, very, very good team. And then all those Big West Conference teams. Chaparral, Murrieta Valley, Vista Murrieta, Roosevelt. Vista Murrieta has a big game against Rancho Cucamonga. We'll talk more about that in a moment. Beaumont climbing up to number 7, and there's Norco at number 8. Norco beat Citrus Valley last week, so the Cougars climbing back up. Liberty's at number 9. Citrus Valley, a lot better than 1-3. In fact, they might be the best 1-3 team out there. They just played some really good teams. Other than that, the rankings this week have not really changed that much. The only big significant moves, Norco going back into the top 10 after beating Citrus Valley, and Eisenhower continuing to climb. Eisenhower now 5-0 after a hard-fought defensive battle against Elsinore last week. So that is our Boost Top 25 after week 4 of the high school football season. All right, we come back here on the Inland Sports Show. Again, more high school football. We'll take a look at some of those big games coming up in week number 5. And if you missed it, we got a big Boost play of the week that was so good from RCC's big win against El Camino this past Saturday. We'll be right back on your favorite show, the Inland Sports Show.
What up, y'all? Boostman here with another 2 cents on being a more mindful athlete. Consider all aspects of your development that you're not giving your full attention to. Maybe it's your diet, mobility, rest and recovery, or strength and conditioning. Once you identify this, I guarantee you will unlock new levels of progress, new levels of growth, and ultimately higher levels of performance. Boostman.
Sports Show is proud to partner with Dr. Marcus Paulson and Paulson Orthodontics in Redlands. Dr. Paulson and his team work with children, teens, and adults using orthodontic products like traditional braces and Invisalign to make a difference in the appearance, comfort, and function of each patient's teeth. Paulson Orthodontics welcomes new patients, so schedule a visit today. Paulson Orthodontics. We make braces fun.
That's funny because I was thinking the same exact thing, that the 49ers didn't even look that great. I mean, I'm a big Brock Purdy guy, and there were like 3 or 4 throws that he completely missed. And I'm like, oh my gosh, those were touchdowns right there. So they could look bad and still be a good team on the road. I'm like, that's still a really good sign for the 49ers.
When you can, yeah, exactly. When you can play not well and still get the win, it's really all that matters. And I think it's a good sign. But you can see all around, I can't think of a better all-around team than the 49ers right now.
And also Coach Prime in Colorado. If there was one game I wanted to watch this weekend, it was Colorado versus Colorado State. And I stayed up late Saturday night because I wanted to see the finish in overtime. And the Buffaloes win again. And I know Colorado's now got Oregon. So we're going to find out for real if Colorado is for real.
How wild is it that Deion Sanders is the biggest thing going? He is the face of college football right now.
Inland Sports. And welcome back to the Inland Sports Show, everybody. Talking high school football right here as we round things out. Before we fully jump into Week 5, let's take a look at the Week 4 All-Stars. And it was tough this week. Thank you to the coaches who sent in their stats. We had some tough decisions to make because we had so many guys making big-time plays. Let's take a look at the Week 4 All-Stars, and we'll start with freshman running back Trevor Schneider from Norco. 177 yards from scrimmage and a couple touchdowns in that big win against Citrus Valley. Eisenhower, running back, DB, kick returner Deshaun Benton returned the opening kickoff of the game, 88 yards for a touchdown. Also had a rushing touchdown in a 14-9 win against Elsinore. DJ Little's now at Beaumont, a receiver, 153 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns on just 4 catches. Big night for Littles. Patriot running back Josiah Felix, huge day on the ground for the Warriors, 153 and 4 touchdowns. And another running back from Rev, Nate Lopez, 290 on the ground. 3 touchdowns for the Wildcats and a win against Rim of the World. Those are your Inland Sports Week 4 All-Stars. Congrats, guys. All right, let's take a look at some of those big Week 5 games. We start with the Ken Sporting Goods must-see game, and this game feels like maybe like a CIF championship, or I even tweeted this out, that it feels like an old CIF Southern Section Inland Division playoff game, like a semifinal game. Let's take a look. Rancho Cucamonga 5-0 going up against 4-0 Vista Murrieta. Which team will prevail and stay undefeated on the year? Man, it is going to be a big-time collision in their final non-league games of the year. Rancho Cuc, Vista Mur, the Ken Sporting Goods must-see game. 2 undefeated teams going head-to-head. All right, but there's also some other really big games coming up in Week 5. Let's take a look at some of the other top games. Centennial's in action, Cajon's in action. Cajon's going to take on Etiwanda, and 2 of the top teams in San Bernardino County going head-to-head. Centennial will get Liberty from Arizona, featuring 2 of the top teams in the nation going head-to-head. In fact, I think if you look on Max Preps right now, Liberty is ranked ahead of Centennial. We'll find out. That's why they play the games. Riverside Poly will take on Redlands. Harupa Hills taking on the Jack, San Jacinto, and 2 teams that are probably a lot better than what their records indicate right now. Orange Vista will take on Paloma Valley. That's a Rain Cross Conference game, but not a league game. King will take on JW North. That'll be on Riverside TV. That's a Riverside rivalry game. And finally, Murrieta Valley will take on San Clemente. That's another great non-league game featuring a couple of the top programs in Southern California, certainly in the southern section. So those are some of the top games coming up in Week 5. And how about some college football? Now, we do the Big Boost Play of the Week, and we normally reserve it for a high school play. But this comes from the Riverside City College football game against El Camino, 2 of the top 10 teams in the state. And check this out. Inland Sports. It's Kajaya Holloway. If the name rings a bell, it's because he was the former quarterback at San Jacinto High School. Well, that is Kajaya Holloway, the receiver at RCC now, and he goes straight Randy Moss. He mossed him on this touchdown catch for RCC against El Camino. RCC won the football game by a score of 45-6, and that was an incredible touchdown catch for Holloway. Such a cool story. Stud running back at San Jacinto, signed with UCLA as a quarterback, transferred to Grambling, and they made him a receiver. Now he's bounced back to RCC and doing big-time things at the receiver position. That's our Big Boost Play of the Week, brought to you by Kajaya Holloway out there at RCC. All right, that's going to do it for the Inland Sports Show, but a big thanks to our guests, Yucaipa football, Paloma Valley volleyball, and Roosevelt football as well. Also, a big shout out to our director, Johnny Nunez, behind the scenes here at Team Vision TV 16. My name is Pep Fernandez. God bless you guys. Stay safe. I'll see you Friday night on the Friday Night Pep Rally on Riverside TV. Until then, we'll see you next time on your favorite show, the Inland Sports Show.